Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Learn This Deck with the Dreaming with Tarot. And today's card is the Star. I love this card. It is very, it's one of those feel good cards that come up in a reading. You look at it and you're like, oh yeah, everything's okay. That's the Star card. It always has that feel good, energy about it. So, let's look at the card story, shall we? First off, the environment. And like most cards in this deck, at least in the major arcana so far, it's not much going on. There's like a flowery pattern of a wallpaper, in the background. And I think that the background being this way, that's what I'm feeling. And as we come to this from all the cards so far, is that the background is this way because the deck creator wants us not to focus on that, but to focus on what's in the foreground, what's the, so all the extra stuff has been whittled away. Maybe, yeah, that could be the reason, right? Because otherwise we'd get distracted, maybe. Who knows? So let's focus on the person. And we have a young person here who is wearing an apron, and on that apron is an 8-pointed star. And in each of his hands, he is holding a jug. So, and from both those jugs, he's pouring out a liquid which is like falling on the ground. So that's pretty much what's going on in this card here. So all of this is about the symbols, right? The first symbol being the 8-pointed star. If just one of those things, 1 plus 7, which is 17, the number of this major arcana card, 1 plus 7 adds to an 8, and the star on the apron is an 8-pointed star. So I was curious. I went on to Google and I simply, searched for meaning of 8-pointed star, and all kinds of websites came up. One of those websites even had a whole plethora of meanings, and basically all of it sort of he has accumulated all kinds of stuff on there, linking the 8-pointed star to pretty much everything on the planet. He's linked it to Buddhism, to Hinduism, to Islam, to ancient Sumeria, to ancient Babylon, and Christianity, and Vlad the Impaler, and at some point I decided, and even UFOs. So, but out of all that stuff that was out there, and I looked on some other sites as well, the meanings that sort of made sense to me, right, were that these 8 points represented the 4 directions plus the 2 solstices and the 2 equinoxes. And because they were that way, the directions and these equinoxes and solstices, they represent the balance or the harmony, or basically the order, the cosmic sort of order of the universe. So, time and space and all of that kind of combined is 8, and that's why it's all about the balance and harmony and cosmic order and all of it. So 8 sort of brings balance. That's what it is. So this is what is the 8-pointed star. It's a star that symbol is all about finding the balance after or during time and space. Make sense? Then those 2 jugs, right? Now, the way I see it, any form of water is feeling, right? The symbolism of water is feelings and emotions and stuff. Now, those jugs could be like they hold, they are the containers of that water. So they are the feelings and emotions that have been accumulated, and by the very simple act of pouring them out, he's letting go of all the stuff that he has accumulated, which could be feelings, memories, all of it. He's just letting it all go. So, what does the LWB have to say about this card, right? Here are a few of the sentences that sort of stood out for me as I read through the write-up. The deck creator says that this star is the polar star or the pole star, which has helped travelers find their way to their destination for like hundreds and thousands of years, and that's like everybody knows that, right? The pole star has always been sort of the point in the sky where people sort of, say, oh yeah, look, that's north, right? Um, the deck creator also goes on to say that when this card pops up in a reading, it's an indication that you are right where you need to be and your goals are within reach, right? This is also the card which says there's light at the end of the tunnel, you know. And this card also indicates that grief and despair of the past are being released. So that sort of ties in with the water being poured out from the jug scenario right there. But yes, this is a card of hope and positivity, all of it, right? So what were my keywords, right? First off, letting go. That's a no-brainer, I guess, up from, from all the stuff that we've talked about so far. This is all about letting go. This card is all about letting go of all the attachments and the resentments and the anger and the pain and the happiness and the sadness, all of it. You're just kind of just letting go and finding balance, right? Then we have direction and guidance from the universe. And this is again something very special. This is like you feel in this moment that yes, I'm in the right place, right time, and I'm going in the right direction. Another sort of take on this direction and guidance from the universe is this card could indicate that you're going to consult with someone like an astrologer or a tarot card reader. Basically, you're going to look into the stars, look into the small pointers that the universe has placed all over for guidance. Now, I know that most times, readings are used for guidance about regular everyday scenarios, will I get the job, will he marry me, that sort of thing, which is okay, which is great. But I think that these kind of occult arts, especially tarot or astrology and the others which I may not know of, all of them have a purpose, and the purpose is a lot more wider or broader than this. I mean, yes, this is good, but then at some point these methods allow you to look at a person's life from a sort of from a distance, from so you can see the whole thing in one glance, sort of, and you can see the ebb and flow of energy through time, and you can sort of see, okay, so this is the time in this person's life which will favor you know creative pursuits. This time period will favor family and stability or something. And maybe this is not a negative this is a sort of a negative period in this person's life. And then, so if, let's say, I'm looking at my future, and if I knew these things, I would find a way to be more in alignment with these forces so I can reap the most benefit from it. Even the negative parts, because that's how it is, there's ups and there's downs, there's got to be that balance. You can't always be on the up all the time, right? And even when I know that, okay, that's that negative period coming along, maybe I can prepare myself for it. Maybe I can be ready for it. Maybe I can, be more accepting of it. And I can look for the deeper sort of reasons or lessons that are hidden in those experiences, because it's only when you have negative experiences that you sort of reflect, right? Okay, I do realize that I may have kind of gone off the deep end here. Maybe, like, this discussion is something that'll take hours, so I'm gonna stop this. But you get the drift of what I'm trying to say when I say direction and guidance from the universe, especially when one goes and, say, consults with an astrologer or a tarot card reader. That's the star can indicate that kind of time period where that kind of reflection and guidance sort of happens. And yes, this is a card of positivity and hope. So you have that whole feel good energy that comes from this card. Now, of course, what happens when you reverse it? Take a good look. Do you think that when you reverse it, the water will flow out of the jug? No, it will go back in the jug. So that clearly indicates that this person is either unable or unwilling to let go, right? This is, he ought to, the fact that this card comes up means that he ought to, that it's something that it's long overdue. Maybe he's, for whatever reason, either not able to do it or he's not willing to do it, he or she, right? And then of course there's that fact that you're kind of directionless, you don't know where you're going, you don't feel right, you don't have that sense of rightness, with your everyday life, and that can cause that confusion, that can cause that chaos inside of you. And it can also lead to feeling a little negative and hopeless about life. So again, if you want to make it upright, you want to make it positive, find that balance, find that sense of rightness. And yes, that's where I would say the role of these kind of occult arts actually comes into play, is to help you find that right path where you'll feel, yes, I'm going in the right direction, whether it is in a bad phase or a good phase. All that guidance comes into play. All right. So what was my card story? Again, I got into the head of the person, which is this person pouring the water out of the jugs, and this is what came out. Life is good. It's starting to feel good because I've made it good with my own two hands. I'm finally being able to let go of all the stuff that had held me back, all the stuff that I'd held inside of me for so long, so very long. As I let it all go, I feel the blessing of the universe. I feel the rightness of where I'm going. I feel good and right, perfect, right? So this is the feeling I got, that he or she realizes that this is the stuff that that's held me back for so long. This is the stuff that I've held inside of me for so long, and the moment I'm letting it all go, and the moment I'm able to release it, right, I'm creating this sense of rightness with my own two hands. This way, by letting go of all the attachment to the negative stuff, to the past, to all of that, I am now creating my present, and that will take me forward into the future. So I'm feeling good, I'm going in the right direction, it's all good, it's all perfect. That's the feeling of this card. So what is your journal entry? What is your keywords? Feel free to share them on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Make sure you use the hashtag learn this deck so we can find each other. And also you can use the hashtag the star, hashtag dreaming with tarot, and hashtag TaroticallySpeaking if you feel like. The point is, this way, with the first hashtag, we can connect with each other and get together, and we can learn this deck online and with each other, that sort of thing, right? So I will see you again tomorrow with the next card, which is the moon card. And until then, stay good and learn this deck. Bye now.